Hey, sorry for the late start. I am a student of technology. As you are a student of English, I am a student of technology, and I'm still learning the studio here at SCEL, the Spokane College of English Language. I'm your teacher, Neal, as always. I see some of the familiar names here again. I see Zach is here, and you've probably been talking to him. Rosa's here. Hi, Rosa. Hi again. You're going to learn, I saw you're going to learn present perfect twice today. So there's nothing like learning something twice for some reinforcement. Hi, Mohammed. Hi, Miriam. And again, if I mispronounce your name, maybe give me the correct name phonetically. And of course, by phonetically, I mean this. Go ahead and go to the lesson screen. By phonetically, of course, I mean, let's see. Oh, where am I? There I am. Hello. By phonetically, I mean this. Like, so my name is, and we'll get to that in a second. My name is Neal. Hopefully you can read that. Maybe I'll make it bigger. My name is Neal, but phonetically, Neal. So I'll keep looking in the chat. If I mispronounce your name, go ahead and type it in phonetically so I can pronounce it correctly. Hi, Tara, or is it Tara? So it's good to always see these familiar faces here. Hi, Blue Guitar. It's good to have you back, and hopefully you've been tuning into a few of these streams with Nicole and Sagan and Mark and Sean, of course, as usual. Hi, Steve Lynn. Hi, Awis. Hi, Gerardo. Hello, everybody. Kasim, Jonathan. Okay, so again, if I slaughter your name, if I say it wrong, please give me the phonetic pronunciation, and I'll try to remember it, because I'm very good at mispronouncing things, which is a bad habit for an English teacher to get into, but it's a habit I happen to have. One other thing I'd like to say, and let me make this bigger as well, is if you want to know more about these classes that we're teaching, you can always go to smartenglish.com, Smrt Live. And why don't I put this in the chat? You can always learn a little bit more about these classes we will be teaching, and pretty soon they're no longer going to be they're going to be closed, so they will no longer be open classes. Later this month they will become closed. If you would like to continue attending these live classes, please go to this website and learn more about it. smartenglish.com, Smrt Live. Okay, for now you probably noticed I'm wearing my jacket. Why am I wearing my jacket? And this is what I wanted to talk about. When we talk about present perfect, like for example, and present perfect akin is have or has, and then the been, and then the verb ing. Why do we use this? When do we use it? What's a good time to use it? And a good time to use it is for change. Think of it as grammar for change. Okay, I'm wearing my jacket because, here's my sentence, my example sentence. It has been getting colder lately. Here the weather, and that's the it, the weather has been getting colder lately. So go ahead and take a look at that sentence. What's the change? And this should be easy. This is a very easy question. What is the change here? If I ask you, or if I write or tell you, it has been getting colder lately. What is the change? Where's the change in that sentence? Hi, Arouge, you're not late. We're just beginning talking about present perfect Oh, I learned that Caio, is that right? Caio, I've been saying your name wrong. I've been saying it ciao, like the Italian. It's Caio, isn't it? Paulo, Anita, welcome, welcome. Oh boy, I'm going to try your name again. I'll probably slaughter again. Gawadria or Zayed. Can I call you Zayed? Temperature, good. Change in temperature. Thank you, Fran. Yeah, it's a change in temperature. And the same in Argentina apparently too. Yeah, same in America. This is a season for change. So I'm using present perfect. It has been getting colder lately. It is a change in the weather. And of course, the weather it's getting colder. It's not getting warmer, it's getting colder. And it's not going to stop. It is not going to stop. So it has been getting colder lately. I'm also wearing the jacket because I have been walking a longer distance to school in the morning. Oh, thank you, Rosa. Yeah, maybe I should clarify. This is present perfect continuous. Rosa, that's an excellent observation. Of course, it's the continuous because we have the verb ing. Present perfect continuous to show change. Thank you, Rosa. Good recognition of the grammar. Excellent recognition. I have been walking a longer distance to school in the morning. And that's another question. I see another question. We can't use verb ing in present perfect. Well, this is a form of the present perfect continuous. Present perfect for example, I have seen that movie before. And there's your present perfect. Just have, auxiliary verb have, and then seen, so verb 3, see, saw, seen. So auxiliary have and then verb 3. But this doesn't reflect change, it reflects experience. I have seen that movie before. I have saw. Tara, we can't say I have saw. So if I wrote that, I have saw, this is a good example. I have saw that movie before. The reason we can't do this is because saw is a past verb. It's verb 2. So if we have the verb see, in the past becomes saw, and then verb 3, seen, see, saw, seen. With present perfect, we're going to have that auxiliary verb have and verb 3, seen. We cannot use verb 2. So yeah, good. Great use of grammar terms. I see Caio, past participle. Yeah, we can call verb 3 the past participle. Great grammar term. Past participle. We're going to use this. We're going to use the past participle. We can't use verb 1, the infinitive, and we can't use verb 2, the past. We have to use verb 3, also called the past participle, to make present perfect. Yes, good. Or just PP is a nickname for the past participle. I happen to hate that nickname, by the way. I never call it PP. Hi, Milan. We're just starting. We're just starting. See, there's a lot of people. Remember to like the page. Okay, a lot of good comments. I'm just looking at the comments here. Okay, let's go back. So what I wanted to focus on, and it sounds like you have a pretty good grasp of present perfect. I wanted to focus on that present perfect continuous, to be exact. And I'll put it in again one more time. Present perfect continuous. And I'm glad Rosa corrected me on that. To show change. It's a good way to show change. Change in what? Change in the environment or change in habit are two things you can show change in. So let me bring my example back. I have been seeing this movie since 3 p.m. Good. Again, if I slaughter your name, give me the phonetic spelling. Goadria or Zayed, can I use either of those names? So that's a good example sentence. I want to use this. I want to show this. I'm just going to grab this really quick here. Blow it up. Look at this example. Let's look at this example. Great writing, by the way. I love how prolific you guys are in the chat room here. You are prolific writers in the chat room. Let me make a full, complete sentence. You are prolific writers in the chat room. And I love it. I love watching what you're writing here. That's okay if you're just joining. We're just starting. It's brand new, Mohammed. So, can you guess the meaning of prolific? I'm going on a little tangent here before I get back to this example. Guess the meaning of prolific. I'm going to look at your guesses here for this word. Okay, and I'll talk a little about the sentence. I've been seeing this movie since 3 p.m. The odd thing is, I can say, and I'll go back up. I can say I have, here, let me strike this one through. So this is example. We would not say this. Remember, we would not say this. So we can say I have seen that movie before when the action is complete. But when we're in the process of watching, we don't use seeing. We use watching if we're still in that process. I've been watching this movie since 3 p.m. And this is an excellent example. So this one doesn't reflect change, though. This one reflects unfinished action. Hello. Luciano, hello. Again, if I slaughter your name, and I'm going to. Here, I'm going to show another example. I'm going to pull up Muhammad's example now. Let's blow this up here. Let's take a look at this one. I have seen that movie later. Okay. This is an excellent example. Almost we got it. But here, look at this word. Let's take a look at this word, later. Later. We can't use present perfect to show something that's going to happen in the future. We can't use present perfect to show something that's going to happen in the future. We can't talk about the future using present perfect. So we cannot use the word later. I have seen that movie. How about before is a good word, a past word. So you can use it with a past word, never with a future word. just in case you're wondering, let me put later in. If we have later, I have seen that movie later, what would we use? Well, with future, of course, a good word with future is will. I will have seen that movie. Still a little strange, right? A little strange. I will have seen that movie later. But a little better with the future modal, will. Still later doesn't quite work. I will have seen that movie. And usually we use this word. This is a good word to use. By. By tomorrow. I will have seen that movie by tomorrow. Sometime between today and tomorrow, I will have seen that movie. It will be finished in the future. Of course, this is, let's see, present perfect future. Future present perfect. I'll put the future at the end. Present perfect future. And somebody guessed William, you guessed the correct meaning of prolific. Let's go down to here. Yes, producing a great number, a great amount. I see you writing a lot, trying this grammar out a lot. And I want to look at another one of Muhammad's examples here. I have been seeing later moving, and if this is movie again, again, so with present perfect continuous, we can't use this future word. So don't use it with words that show that it's happening in the future or that you will do that action in the future. I have been seeing, and like this example above, when we're in the process, we're in the middle of the action, watching. I have been watching that movie. I have been watching. I saw that movie yesterday, so I don't want to say. Okay. Another good example, this one from bite. I would say that word is bite. Please excuse me if that's not correct. And give me the phonetic. B-Y-T-E. I would say that word or that name, bite. I saw that movie yesterday. I'm going to put a comma in there, comma. So, and then repeat the subject. I don't want to see it again today. And of course, this is slang for want to. I'm just going to put the formal want to. I saw that movie yesterday, so I don't want to see it again today. Good. That's kind of the same meaning as, if we go all the way back up, I have seen that movie before. So same meaning as the original sentence. I have seen that movie before. What does that mean? It means I saw that movie yesterday, so I don't want to see it again today. That's an excellent movie. Excellent movie. That's an excellent sentence. And we have another one. Now we're going into the future. I'll watch this movie soon. I'll watch this movie soon. Of course, we have will watch this movie soon. That's a great example of future. Future simple. I will watch this movie soon. Okay, so that's the good. Okay, another, Polani, again, if I slaughter the pronunciation, if I kill the pronunciation of your names, please correct me phonetically. This is a great question. What's the difference Let's look at this question. What's the difference of I have lived in Rio to I have been living in Rio? So these two sentences, let's take a look at these two sentences. And I guess I'll pose this to the chat room. What do you think is the difference? And I'm looking at these two sentences here. I'm just going to make them bigger to highlight them. What is the difference between those two sentences? What is the difference between these two sentences? And let's see. Is this a future perfect? We're kind of covering a little bit of everything. I'm going to get back to the present perfect continuous to say, okay, Rosa, this is a good question. And Rosa's question is going to get me back on track. Good, Kyle. I see Kyle has the right idea. I have lived in Rio means I don't live in I don't live in Rio anymore. And the second one, I have been living in Rio, that would indicate, yes, good. Blue guitar. Excellent. You guys are good. You guys are so on point this morning. I think you're a little more awake than I am. Still living in Rio. So here we have, I have lived, present perfect simple. Can we call it the simple? Maybe not. Let's just call it present perfect. Let me make it a little bigger. Present perfect. And this one would be present perfect continuous. I guess let's continuous. That's not even right. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I guess I could call it simple if this is the continuous, that's the simple. Present perfect continuous and present perfect simple. Okay, Mohammed. Yeah, let me get back to my original sentence. This takes me all the way back to my original sentence. And I'm going to use Rose's question. And this will get me back to the present perfect continuous. And Rose's question is, do we use present perfect continuous to say how long? And we can. Actually, we can use the present perfect continuous to say how long. But we are going to have to give the length, the duration of time, or when we started. So let me get back to it has been getting colder. And I could say for how long, for 1 week. Or, when did it start? When did the change start? It has been getting colder since last Wednesday. I noticed it has been getting colder since last Wednesday. So we can say how long, but we're going to have to be very clear. We're going to have to add duration or when the change started. Future meaning would be maybe this is bite, maybe this is the future meaning. Bite's asking, when can it have future meaning? It will continue to get colder. And notice I just use the future, the future modal will, to show that I think this change will continue. And I use a verb that means I believe this cold trend will continue. Okay, Mohammed, it has been getting colder lately. So my original example, it has been getting colder lately. Lately means not a specific time. Lately is a very general time. Lately would be recent past up until now. Maybe like one of these, for 1 week or since last Wednesday. These are more specific. They're more accurate. Lately has just been, maybe I'm not sure if it's 1 week, 6 days, 8 days. I'm not sure. I haven't been counting. But I know it has been getting colder lately. Starting in the past, not a specific amount of time until now. So recent past, let's say lately is a good word for recent past until now. Very general time. It has been getting colder lately. The temperature is dropping. The temperature is going down. The Celsius, the Fahrenheit, is decreasing. So it has been getting colder lately. And then I also had, one thing I hear a lot of students say, and again, prolific, let's get to that, and there was a correct guess, yeah. Produces a lot. You in the chat room are producing a lot of writing, and it's fantastic. I'm glad you can practice this as we go along, practice this in real time. It's exciting to see your sentences immediately. And if you always see me looking over here, I'm looking at what you do have to say. And it's excellent. It's very, very accurate, good questions, and even if there is a mistake, it's good. That's the only way to learn, is to practice, make mistakes, fix the mistakes, and get better. And you'll notice as I'm typing these examples, I will make tons of mistakes, and you'll see that in real time. But that's how I learn too. Always try these. Good, Tara. Yes, always try. Never stop trying. That's the only way to learn. The only way to learn is to keep trying. Okay, before I look at the future a little bit, let's look at another present perfect continuous. I'm going to go back to, I have been walking. Maybe I'll give 1 mile to work lately. I'll use that general word again, lately. I have been walking 1 mile to work lately. Now this is my habit. And maybe you can tell me, what is the difference between this and I walk 1 mile to work? Look at those. And maybe I'll even take off this to make the sentences closer. What is the difference between these two sentences? And as you're writing those answers, again, I'm going to mispronounce another name. Again, please mistake me. Hello, Anna Rude. Welcome back. Irna, I-R-Y-N-A, Irna. Please give me the correct phonetic pronunciation of your names, and I'll keep looking at the chat window to see how that's going. Okay, here's a question that came up. I had been living in Rio for 5 years. If I don't live here anymore, yes, that is the past. Had been living, and now we're talking about past perfect continuous. Yeah, when we use the past perfect, it's done. That action is done. Past perfect continuous. I had been living. I don't live there anymore. So sometimes when I see a sentence like this, I might follow it up with, had been living in Rio for 5 years. Now I live in San Diego. I might follow it up with what happened after. Had been is a clear indication, or it shows very clearly past action, and you use that continuous to show it's long, 5 years, and you even gave a long duration of time. So that's perfect. I had been living in Rio for 5 years. You've given me the entire duration. It was a long time. 5 years is a long time to live somewhere. So this is a very good example of the past perfect continuous. And you might want to follow that up with what is happening now, or what happened after Rio. Okay, we have some answers. Okay, so Anita, I am still walking. This is not a past action. If you notice, I'm using have instead of had. Had is good for past. It's done. I'm not doing it anymore. But have indicates it's still happening. It's still happening. And this one, I walk 1 mile to work. Guadria, correct. Always. Habit. This is a long time habit. This is my habit. If I use present simple, I walk 1 mile to work. And it shows this is an always habit. This is a constant habit, an every morning habit. But this one, I have been walking 1 mile to work. What is it? Irina, thank you. Thank you, Irina, for the correction on your name. I'm just looking at some of the answers. How about one? Started walking. So, and this is what I wanted to get to. This is, again, present, perfect, continuous. I have been walking 1 mile to work. I'm continually misspelling the word continuous. You'll notice I misspell this word every time I write it. I have been walking 1 mile to work. Change. New habit. Maybe I started 1 week ago and I'm still doing it today, up until today. A new habit. I've changed my habit. Present perfect continuous is a good way to show change. Change in environment and weather, and change in personal habit. Mohammed, are you talking about my eyes? My eyes are a little red. No, it's just early. It's just early. I am. I'll give you a little slang you might know. You might already know. I am a night owl. I am a night owl. This is slang, and I would use it personally. I am a night owl, and let's look at. Let's reinforce our understanding of owls by looking at an example. Of course, these are owls. Owls. So if I write the sentence, I am a night owl. Oh, it's just an example sentence, Muhammad. Well, if ever you see me in the morning and my eyes appear red, it's because I am a night owl. I always like to, yes, good, Bite. I stay up too late. I'm a night person. I wake up at night. The morning is a little unusual for me. I'm usually awake at night. Yes, it's idiomatic, it's slang. Yeah, good. And maybe you don't need to capitalize it, of course. It is an idiom, correct? Yeah, that's great, William. Great use of the word idiomatic expression. I love it. It is an idiomatic expression. So I want to find that sentence again. Mohammed, your sentence. Your eyes are red. Have you been crying? A great example of the present perfect continuous used in a question. Your eyes are red. Have you been crying? That's awesome. What a fantastic example. So what would this mean if you asked somebody, and I always like to ask you, if you ask somebody, have you been crying? What are you asking them? What are you asking them? Have you been crying? What is the meaning of this? Anirudh has a question here. Anirudh, I'll address your question as some people answer. I'm still waiting for answers on what are you asking the person if you ask them, have you been crying? Have you been crying? And I'm going to answer Anirudh's question here. How can we distinguish between static and progressive verbs? And what are these? I'm going to answer this in a future broadcast. I'll broadcast again on Monday. But just to give you an idea, progressive is a synonym for continuous. Static. You know, I haven't heard this term before. I'll look it up. But if progressive is a synonym for continuous, I would guess static is a synonym for simple. And I'm going to look that up and I'll answer it on Monday's broadcast. Same time, same place, of course. Man, a lot of good examples here. Excellent examples. I'm going to bring up another example. Anwar. And if I'm wrong on that static and that progressive, I'll tell you on Monday. But I have heard progressive used as a synonym for continuous verbs. And we've been looking at simple and continuous verbs. Have you been watching? Another great question. Have you been watching TV last night? Okay, last night would indicate it's past. It was last night. Not this night. Have you been watching TV tonight? Tonight? Have you been watching TV tonight? So it has to be now still. This action is still in progress. And that's why we use progressive sometimes to mean in progress. It's still happening. Do we have any answers? Were you crying? Yeah, good. Guadria, and again, if I'm misspelling that name again, always phonetically, help me phonetically. This is a great answer, Guadria. Fantastic answer. Were you crying and the crying still continues until now? Yeah. Very recent crying, right? And maybe still a little bit of crying, still a bit of sniffing, still a little water down the eyes. Sure. It's very recent crying. Very, very recent crying. Have you been crying recently? Are you still crying? And I ask because your eyes are red. Okay, this will help me transition. We just have a little bit of time, and I was hoping to transition into some future. and this is a good one to show that. Your eyes are red. If you say this to somebody, you have evidence. You can see that they were crying. And when we talk about the future, one thing we talk about are predictions, guesses about the future. That's a good word to know. Prediction. Predictions are just guesses, just our guesses about the future. And you can have opinion, and you can have evidence. Opinion, feeling, and evidence. What you can sense. Sense with your eyes, nose, ears, mouth, touch. And okay, do we have another, we do have another question bite before we go. Use them when we have another sense. Where you live now, where you lived in the past. So I'm trying to see what you guys have been discussing. And it's with the Rio. Is it back with the Rio? Are you still discussing Rio? Past perfect continuous. I had been living in Rio for 5 years. Then I moved to, let's think of another city. Let's see if I can spell Tijuana. Now I live in San Diego. I had been living in Rio for 5 years. Okay. Past perfect continuous. Long action. Completed. I had been living. Completed before another action. So what's the other action that's complete? Then I moved to Tijuana. So second place I lived. However, this had been living shows a long action completed before another action. Now I live presently in San Diego. If I think I'm going to move, now I am living in San Diego. Next, I will live in Vancouver. Yeah, even if we say 5 years I lived in Rio, those 5 years happened in the past, maybe the year 2003 to the year 2008. But that time has passed now. So we use these different verb tenses to show differences in time. So hopefully that answers some questions. Let's look at this. I had been living in Rio for 5 years. Then I moved to Tijuana. So we use past simple. That's also finished. Now I am living, and I use the continuous because it's going to be another long action. But I'm also looking towards maybe a change in the future. I am living in San Diego. Next, I will live in Vancouver. And of course, these sentences would be said by a globetrotter, somebody who goes all over the world, someone who travels all over the world. And if we go back up, I still think there's some Rio questions. Where were the other through all these notes? Yeah, here. Present perfect simple. I have lived in Rio. I don't live there anymore. That action is complete. That action is complete. And notice there's no time. Not 4 or 5 years, for 10 years. Just I have lived in Rio. Very simple, complete sentence. I have been living in Rio. I'm still there. I'm still living in Rio. This action is not complete. Rosa, another great question, Rosa, about present perfect and present perfect continuous. Okay, maybe we won't get to the future today. Maybe the future will just have to wait for the future. We will talk about the future in the future later. Do we use, and this is Rose's question, excellent question, do we use present perfect when the action is more important and present perfect continuous when the result is important, not the action? For me, I don't think it's so much the result. I don't think it's so much the result as duration or showing that a change has happened. So I would say present perfect continuous more for, and there I misspelled it again. I told you I'd misspell it. Misspell it every time. I misspell continuous every time. So we use it to show more change or duration. Let's look at a very simple sentence. I have been driving to work. So this shows that I'm doing an action still today, maybe even this morning. I have been driving to work. You write process. That's good. Process is good for a process paper. Maybe not for a process paper, maybe more passive, and we can talk about process papers in the future, more passive sentences for a process paper. And Mohammed, you asked to describe information on graph, charts, or tables sometimes for graph charts and tables, and we can cover that in the future. So I have been driving to work. Maybe not the result, maybe no result here. Just current habit, change in habit. If I put time, I've been driving to work for 6 months, kind of showing duration, and I'm still doing it today. So change, duration, maybe not so much results. Maybe not so much results. I'm trying to think if we could use it for results. And I'm thinking no, because this action is still happening. We don't have the result yet. We don't have the final result. If I wrote something like this, I have been driving to work for 6 months. Continuously doing it, still doing it. Will I do it in the future? I don't know. That happens to be my habit now. It seems like maybe yes, but I might change my habit again. Here, let's look at another sentence. I have been gaining weight recently. I have been gaining weight recently. My weight is increasing. What will the end result be? I don't know. I don't know what the end result will be. Will I continue to gain weight? Right now, it seems like yes, I will continue to gain weight. Will I start losing weight? Maybe if I try, if I diet, if I exercise. But now I see the trend. I have been gaining weight recently. Weight is increasing. Weight is increasing. Do you need tenses? This is a good question, Anwar. Do we need tenses when we are speaking English? Yes. So, I hear a lot of times students say some grammar is easy grammar and some grammar is difficult grammar. I think easy grammar just means lots of opportunity to use. Easy grammar is that grammar that you have opportunity in your life to use. Difficult grammar, not a lot of opportunity. You do not have a lot of opportunity to use in your daily life. And that's why I wanted to discuss and touch on, I thought this was going to be a short little lesson, and it ended up taking most of the time, this present perfect continuous. It doesn't seem like you do have a lot of opportunity to use, but you do. So let's get rid of the future there. So I'm going to pose a question for you, and I would like you to answer. So please answer in the chat room. Please answer in the chat room. What habits of yours, that you do, what habits of yours have changed recently? What habits of yours have changed recently? And please use present perfect continuous. Please use present perfect continuous to tell me about your change in habits. Your change in habits. Good luck. I'm going to pop out for a second, put on some music, read some of your chats, and I'll be back in, let's say 2 minutes, and then we'll finish up. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that music while you were writing. There was a question, and I wanna address this question by Byte. This is a good question. He asks, if I have been reading this book for 5 hours, it sounds like 5 hours continuously. Yeah, and you're right. If you say, I have been reading this book for 5 hours, that means 5 hours straight. However, let's look at another one. I have been reading this book for 5 weeks. Obviously, you're not spending all of your time in 5 weeks reading the book. It's just you're not finished. You started 5 weeks ago and you're still reading it. The action is not finished, but you are in the habit of picking it up from time to time and reading it. And here's an example sentence that came up. There's been a significant growth in employment. I changed it to there. There is more general to a situation. So there has been a significant growth in employment. And there was a question about like a graph or a bar chart. Could we use it? Here would be a good example. If you showed a graph going up and it shows that there's been a significant growth in employment, you could use present perfect continuous. This is an excellent sentence to illustrate that. I saw another good one that I want to go back and find. I think, yeah, Kaio had a funny sentence here. I haven't been staying at home lonely because I'm dating now. That's good. Before, not dating. Now, dating and no longer staying at home. That habit of staying home is finished. Rosa, another excellent example. Rosa's sentence is, I have been attending Smrt live classes on YouTube for 5 months. Another excellent example. Is that true, Rosa? That's a long time. 5 months? Have there been live streams for 5 months? Bites? Your guys' examples are cracking me up. Let's look at this one. I have been working out for a few months because I'm too fat now. Well, it's good. It's good. If you feel like you've gained too much weight, it is a great habit to get into to work out. I have been working out. That is definitely a new habit, and one I should do as well. Bites. I should also be working out. I have been going to bed before 10 p.m. Yeah, Gwen, that's excellent. Man, these are great examples. I have been going to bed before 10 p.m. recently. Yeah, change in habit. Maybe before, after 10 p.m. And now the habit has changed. I have been going to bed before 10 p.m. recently. Awesome. William, I have been studying medicine for almost 4 years. William, if that's true, that's very admirable. It can't be easy. That cannot be an easy subject to study. I have been studying medicine for almost 4 years. It's a long time. It's a long time to study medicine. Of course, any med degree takes many, many years. That's why I became a teacher and not a doctor. Good, Tara. I have been reading more books. Another excellent habit to get into. Always try to read more books. Soul? Another excellent, man, you guys are, I'm going to use a baseball term. I'm going to use a baseball idiom. You guys are hitting it out of the park. It's a baseball idiom. You're hitting home runs. You are hitting the ball a far distance. Means you're doing excellent. You're doing very, very excellent. Okay, Blue Guitar, you have a good question about the future. And because we're running out of time, we're almost out of time, I'm going to save this future lesson until later. You know, you guys, you bring up such great questions and you have so many great examples. I just want to talk about present perfect the whole time. So, Blue Guitar asks, will your eyes going to be red? And you can't mix will and going to, be going to. You cannot mix will and be going to. So you cannot say, will your eyes be going to red? Now there is one exception. Will you be going to the store? If your action is like driving or walking or riding your bike, you can say, you can mix will and be going, but only if your action is movement from one place to another. So this one, will your eyes going to be red? It doesn't indicate movement, so we need that form of be, are. And we'll talk more about future next time. Good, Michelle. I'm not eating many fried food. I'm just going to show 2 more examples and then I have to go. I ran a little long because I started a little late because I'm learning, still learning the technology. Thank you for your patience today, by the way. I'm not eating as many fried foods. Good, Michelle. I'm glad to hear that. I wish I could say the same. I am eating a lot of fried food recently. I can't help it. It's delicious. I have been hearing songs. Here we have the present perfect continuous. Oh, this I am not. This is present continuous, simple continuous. I have been, and of course, waken to waking. This is just present continuous. And then I have been hearing songs. Usually when we do it, it's like that before I mentioned seeing and watching with a movie. Here, instead of hearing, we would use listening to. I have been listening to songs. And of course, it's always good to listen to more music. It's always good to practice English. Please find excuses in your life or opportunities to use present perfect continuous to talk about change in your life or change in the weather. Next time I'll talk about the future, of course. That's what I wanted to get to, but it was such a great discussion today about present perfect continuous. I wanted to stay on it. So thank you all for joining for all these classes. Remember to like us on the YouTube page, and remember to check out all the live classes on the YouTube page. And tune in next Monday when I'll be here, same place, same channel, same time. And tune in tomorrow morning, this same place, and it'll be Nicole tomorrow morning. And it was fun. I have a blast with these. Thanks again. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.